Number 11, Tennessee got whooped in the Swamp tonight, 29-16. It really wasn't even that close. Watching that game, Florida did, and I know y'all had questions about this coming in, but Florida did what I thought they might do, and that's play bully ball against a Tennessee team that could not retain the ball offensively. Joe Milton was throwing ground balls. He was throwing pop flies, basically anything but accurate passes to his wide receivers for much of the game. Travis Etienne takes over 172 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And guys, when you look at this game, penalties and 0 of 3 on fourth down were just the nail in the coffin for a Tennessee's team that came in. It felt like a little bit on eggshells. It felt like they realized that no Tennessee team had beaten the Gators in back-to-back seasons since 2003, since 2004. And Trey, it just felt like Tennessee was kind of playing cautious. They were playing a little scared tonight.
They definitely were. They felt the energy of the crowd. They felt, the moment felt too big for them, and it definitely felt different than the Tennessee team we saw last year. And it makes sense when you think about all the talent that those guys lost from last year. The quarterback, all the receivers, even some of the top performers on defense and the offensive line. So maybe we underestimated, some of us in this room, not saying you, Mitch, because I think you called this one very well, but I think the Garrett and I'll say, maybe I'll just speak for myself, but I think Garrett and I maybe underestimated, the big impact of that in their first true road game in the Southeastern Conference, because you're right. And I think Florida, to their credit, we haven't necessarily been saying Florida has a talent problem everywhere, right? But what we have been saying and beating the drum for is Graham Mertz is not a guy that is going to win you games on his own back. And they figured that out tonight. They just ran the ball a ton with ETN, like you said, and they only made Graham Mertz throw the ball 24 times. And he was extremely efficient. He was 19 to 24 for 166 yards, didn't turn the ball over through the air. And that's a winning recipe for Florida. Just run the ball, use that offensive line, rely on your defense, who has a ton of athletes to, do their thing, rush the passer, create a lot of havoc, and get out of there with maybe a little bit ugly looking on the scoreboard, but a win in a game that not many people outside of Gainesville were expecting you to win. So hats off to Billy Napier and the staff for having a really, really good game plan and exploiting the matchups that, we thought they needed to really exploit to win this game.
Yeah, Trey, you can speak for me on that one. I definitely underestimated the Florida Gators on this. Look, and it looks like they put it together on defense. It looks like they found a way to, put the little pieces together and figure out,
really,
hey, we have athletes.
The Tennessee run game too. They really disrupted that.
Yeah, they were completely ineffective on the ground. But you said it right. Mertz was effective. He did what he needed to do. He helped them move the chains at times. He helped them keep the ball going. But they just kind of, bowed up and they played strong football. they took care of their business. And I don't know if it's just a team chemistry coming together type of thing, or if I don't know what it is, but it seems like that defense is really starting to click into gear. If that's the case, then we could be talking about, I don't know if this is a half team or a 3/4 team, because I still don't think they're going to pass the ball very effectively this year. But a really good defense plus a strong run game, that'll go win you games in the SEC. So, hats off to Florida. They did a really good job. And looking around the rest of your conference, you have to feel a little bit better today about, how you're feeling about the season if you're a Gators fan.
It's the beauty of losing a game early and then, notching an impressive win early is it feels like, oh, well, maybe everything's fine. Maybe we've fixed everything, right? Now, the issue for me, and the reason why I had the confidence to pick Florida to win this game is because they were at home. They just play at a different level when they're in the Swamp. The crowd forces a lot of penalties from the other team, and you saw that from Tennessee tonight, a lot of procedural penalties. Guys not getting lined up in the right way. But I worry about when Florida goes on the road, and especially when they're playing teams that can sling the rock, because I don't trust Florida to be able to mount a big comeback. I don't trust Florida to be able to get down early and mount a comeback. So when I look at their schedule, they'll play Biff Poggy's squad at home in Charlotte next week. And then they'll go on the road to Kentucky. They'll go on the road later in October to South Carolina. They'll play in the cocktail game against Georgia. They'll host Arkansas. But then their close, guys, is at LSU, at Missouri versus Florida State. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you look at that schedule, I think they can beat Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky's been a very impressive team this year.
No.
They'll beat Vanderbilt. But then tell me the rest of that schedule, like where are their guaranteed wins? Because I kind of look at that schedule, and even though they played a great ball game today, they were able to run it, they were physical, I'm still not penciling in wins once you get into October and November. And that's why I'm still really concerned about this team's ability to kind of stay cohesive, to stay together. Am I wrong there?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think that they are going to have an uphill battle in a lot of their games this year, and that's going to be really difficult for them. And it's going to be difficult for the future as well, for building for the future as well. I think that's still, those concerns are still there even after tonight.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to do your best to win the games that you can, and you probably got to sneak an upset or two. And in the big spots, right? You got to find a way to play really competitive against Florida State, or sneak a game away from LSU somehow. You just got to find a way to make a splash, because if you do end up going through the rest of the season and you can't pass the football, and there's some other teams that are maybe a little bit better than you. It can be pretty rough, and especially the optics. You want to be able to build through the portal, right? They have this impossible schedule coming up next year. You want to build through the portal, give yourself a chance. So, I don't know how to navigate this. I'm glad that I'm not Billy Napier today. I'm glad that we did that thought experiment one time. I'm nervous if I'm a Florida fan. I'm enjoying the moment, but I don't know how to navigate the rest of this schedule right now.
Gracious, how about